God damn it. I just did a whole fucking episode for half an hour and forgot to hit record. All right, well, that's how it goes. Welcome to Catching You Up with
Nadav. It's
Today, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite arcs that I've seen over the last couple of years, and that's Adam Ray's Dr. Phil character popping off into mega stardom.
We're going to keep it right here. We ain't going anywhere.
I'm going to be talking about the origin of his Dr. Phil character, his journey along the way, and how he got to where he is today. But before we get into all that, I'd like to remind you to comment, like, and subscribe. And also, I'd like to thank the executive producer of this episode, the one, the only, Christopher Hart. Without his big baller support, I'd probably be teaching myself how to hotwire cars. Nice ones, maybe like Teslas or something, or do those explode if you try and hotwire them? I don't want a lawsuit, let's go ahead and say no. But I'd be hotwiring fancy cars, driving them to south of the border, and, just taking them to chop shops, getting them all chopped up. Before I was in the comedy podcast industry, I'd seen Adam perform live multiple times. At the Improv, there was this show, I don't know if it's still going on there, but it was called The 88 Show with Avery Pearson, where it would be an ensemble of characters and he'd have comedian guests come on, perform some comedy, and then do a song that they wrote that week. And I've seen Adam multiple times on that show, and he absolutely crushed every single time, because boy, does he commit.
How many books do I get? I got molested by like 5 people when I was growing up. How many books do I get?
Now's your chance, Dr. Phil.
Who was your favorite?
No. Jesus Christ.
Adam Ray has some serious chops. Like, yes, he's a stand-up comedian, he's a podcaster, but he's been in movies. Like, I remember he was in Rocky and Bullwinkle. He was in that Sandra Bullock movie with Melissa McCartney? The big lady? Or maybe she's small now? Or maybe she's big again? But she's great. But he's always been busy. And he's always been good at what he does. He's multifaceted. He's what I'd like to call a Bette Midler. But what I found most impressive about Adam Ray is the fact that he got me to like an impression. And I hate people that do impressions. I don't hate the people, I hate the impressions. For example, like when Kyle Dunnigan started popping off, I personally didn't like it, but there's so many people that I respected their comedic opinion on certain things where I was like, clearly I'm wrong here. And also, comedy is subjective. There's no black and white. It's not this is good and this is bad. It's, this just isn't my flavor. And other people are allowed to like it, and I'm not gonna yuck someone's yum. And boy, do I hate that saying, because it makes me feel like a kindergartner. What I'm trying to say is that impressions have never been a flavor that I liked. And I knew Adam had a podcast called About Last Night that he did with Brad Williams. Brad Williams left that show, and to me, anyone that was in that position would have been like, all right, well, the show's ending and we're not doing it anymore. The show must go on. He still does the show to this day, which is crazy to me. It shows you Adam's work ethic. It shows you his devotion to the craft and to keep things going that he enjoys doing. He was off my radar for a bit when one of my good friends is like, hey dude, have you seen Adam Ray's Dr. Phil character? It's pretty wild. And initially my reaction was just like, nah dog, I'm good. But then after a few things came out with him as the character and I saw everyone just flocking to it and genuinely liking it, I saw that he released an episode with Bill Burr.
We had a sweeps week of hermaphrodites who learned how to play the accordion. For some reason, you were really, that piqued your interest. But what fascinates me about you, Bill, is you're a family man.
I'm like, okay, Bill Burr doesn't do things that he doesn't like, and he's notoriously hard to interview on podcasts, as I've covered in a previous episode.
It seems like you're in love with your daughter, hearing you talk about her on the podcast.
Jesus Christ. Well, you're pretty perceptive. It's like you care about your own child.
Listen.
Okay, if Bill Burr's in this, I'll give this a try. And I started watching it. I started becoming so genuinely impressed.
That's why I've always been a fan of your show.
Appreciate it.
Because as much as like you're helping people,
well,
I can just see you snapping a hooker's neck in Reno.
In Reno,
Just-
try Sacramento.
Yeah, you look like a. You look like a corrupt cop. Like you have a taped up pistol in your ankle.
I see that Bill is laughing his ass off the entire time. And what I'm noticing is that Adam is blurring the line. Voice is close enough, the looks are close enough, but he is saying wild shit.
I see a lot of bad attitudes and guys with cock rings and secrets. This guy's got Down syndrome, but look, we're all trying to work through stuff tonight, and I'm excited to be here.
Adult onset Down syndrome too.
Adult onset Down syndrome, yeah, that's new. That's one of those. It's like new. It's like a new variant of COVID.
And it allows you to suspend your disbelief, and that's a good impression. That's probably why I liked Nick Mullen so much on Old School Cumtown episode.
Did him once or twice.
John Hamm.
I think I could do John Hamm.
Dude, I want to see the big redhead's titties from Mad Men.
the
world of coke.
Why would you have sex with a man?
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Why would you insert your dick into another man's ass?
It's a game, Connie. They're playing a game with you.
That's a good Michael.
I'm gay. Are you saying that I'm gay?
So back to Adam Ray. I gave it a watch, and I loved it. I looked deeper into his channel and was able to see that this concept of the Dr. Phil character came years before. Like there's a clip that's uploaded on his channel that's like 4 years old where he's on stage exploring the premise / concept of what he finds funny about Dr. Phil on his own TV show.
I always love watching Dr. Phil during the obesity week for sweeps. This guy fucking just has nailed it on the head as far as like breaking down people's weight problems, getting to the core, but that he's brilliant for good TV ratings before they can explain their situation and where they're coming from. He fucking cuts it to commercial. Karen, you are 529 pounds and only 4'8". You are too big, okay, to go on a boat or a hot air balloon dildo festival. You are just kind of a person that is too, look, what you need to do, okay, and if I could advise you with some personal advice and anecdotes, okay, I can tell that you're having trouble sleeping at night, your sleep apnea machine, you're dousing it with chocolate syrup. What you need to do, okay, is stop dipping pizza, okay, into hot fudge, wrapping burritos around the side, okay, and sprinkling Skittles down the middle, you fat bitch. We'll be right back. And they're just like, it's like so insensitive. And they're like, well, no, actually, it's been a rough year. He's like, no, eat your words. You're probably hungry. We'll be right back.
And you're like, whoa, this came such a long way from 4 or 5 years ago to now where he has a Netflix special. Like this timeline is wild. And it couldn't have happened to a better person. Also, Adam Ray did an interview for the LA Times with the wonderful writer Ali Lerman. If there's an article in the Times about comedy that you actually like, odds are Ali Lerman is the one that wrote it. She's terrific. And here's an excerpt from that article. Ali asks, so how did you even get the idea for this Dr. Phil character? Like, why him? And Adam responds, I had got to a point where I was getting in a monotonous routine of auditioning, stand-up, podcasting, and waiting to be on people's stuff. All good and no complaints, but I was losing some joy for what I was doing. If I'm not creating, I'm not happy. I just got tired of waiting around and was thinking, if I could have my own show, what would it be? I met Jennifer Aspinall, who does my film makeup, on a Mad TV reboot on CW that I did. She's done SNL, the original Mad TV, Westworld. She won Emmys. I asked her if she could do me up for a few of these characters. There was a son, a grandma, and one was a gay hairdresser with a fat suit. A bald guy that left his wife, became gay, and opened a salon. The makeup took 4+ hours. We shot it over a weekend, and I got a bunch of favors from friends who are in it. One of my friends that was playing a salon client in it told me I sort of looked like Dr. Phil. So that night I was like, I should go do stand-up in this outfit. I figured I should milk it and get a little bit more content after getting into makeup for that long. I hit up Joel McHale, who was over at the Laugh Factory, and told him I was going to come by, and Joel said he'd bring me up as Dr. Phil. I went up as him and was messing around with the voice a little bit, and people were eating it up. And then Ali asks, and that was pre-pandemic, right? Props to you for keeping it going throughout. And Adam responds, exactly. When COVID hit, Jeremiah Watkins, who plays a different character in every show, and I were talking about trying to find a safe way to have some fun. We rented a little studio space and I did these Lost Dr. Phil episodes where Phil would interview one of his characters. We'd improvise for 2 hours and put around 40 minutes of it on YouTube. That's where I got to find what that version of the character was for me, honing it, and getting reps from doing it. I found this kind of likable yet abrasive guy who is still trying to help these people. And here's him playing around as Dr. Phil with some of Jeremiah Watkins' characters.
Darwin, I'll be honest, I don't eat fast food, okay? But what I do is I'll make my own homemade spaghetti, put it in the microwave, okay, for just a minute, and then just kind of rub it around on my chest.
Why would you make homemade spaghetti and then put it in the microwave?
You're full of questions and a lot of things that kids your age have not experienced yet. Darwin's one.
You're just like every other adult. You don't listen to me. You just keep talking and try to figure out things for yourself.
Hey, shut the fuck up.
Fast forward to today, and he's had north of 6 appearances on Kill Tony, the biggest live comedy podcast in the world, either as Dr. Phil or one of his other characters, and absolutely crushed. But Adam Ray is easily one of the breakout comedians of 2023, 2024, and he's been doing it for years. He got Guest of the Year on Kill Tony, and no one deserves it more than him. The fact that Adam Ray comes on as Dr. Phil on Two Bears, One Cave and immediately takes over the show, doesn't let Bert steamroll him like Bert tends to naturally try and do with guests, but he is getting better at it. I will say that, Bert, you are getting a lot better at it. But he makes it one of the most viewed episodes of the year.
What wouldn't I do to a stranger for a grape sun-kissed?
To start the day, too.
Yeah, Frosted Flakes and a grape sun-kissed.
Holy shit.
Try it out. I know this motherfucker will deep throat some Kool-Aid, but try a purple sun-kissed.
Buddy, we had a
take your time, sound it out.
Jack in the Box.
There it is.
Adam really is genuinely one of the nicest people, nicest comedians I've ever met. And there's something severely wrong with almost every comedian. But Adam's just such a decent, good stand-up guy. What a nice pun. But the fact is that all this is a true testament to how talented Adam is. None of this shit is scripted. When he's a podcast guest on some of these, he's just shooting from the hip and taking wild swings, and most of them are landing. I mean, I went to go see the live Kill Tony at HEB Center last year, night 1, where Adam Ray as Dr. Phil was the guest, and I was blown away by how many huge swings he was taking and how they were all paying off. I mean, this right here was probably the most memorable moment of the show for me.
From you.
Originally, this episode was going to be about how hilarious Anthony Jeselnik is at shitting ruthlessly on any comedian that he wants to. Some other commentary channels have already covered that. And so instead, this is just a big old jerk-off piece to Adam Ray, and I'm just gonna... YouTube isn't gonna like that. That's, Look, credit where credit's due. And this isn't a negative show. I don't like to talk about what shit I hate about the comedy scene. That's not what this is about, because I'm a comedy fan. There's a lot of people in this industry with glow-ups, and a lot of people will claim that a lot of them don't deserve it. And Adam is not one of those people. He's been putting in the work in stand-up, in podcasting, in acting, in improv, in character work. The reason why the Dr. Phil character works so well is because Adam is so well-rounded in all these departments. But look, it's the end of the year. I'm not sick anymore. Going back to actually talking about stuff that I like about podcasting and this comedy industry. And, maybe next week I'll talk about one of my favorite breakout podcasters of the year. But with all that being said, I'd like to thank everyone that you're seeing on screen Without their help, it'd be hard to put out the show as consistently as I do. And if you'd like to become a supporter of the show, you can go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. But more importantly, I'd like to remind you all,
this is a totally unconfirmed news.
there we go. All right, see you guys next week.